Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make my tiny top version of Tiana, Princess Tiana. So here she is. Now I'm going to explain the colours that I'm using. I'm using black. I'm using the Rainbow Loom Cocoa colour for her skin tone. I'm using, now in this one I have not, but in my one that I'm showing you, I'm going to be using the Rainbow Loom Mixed Pastel Green, which I think is a lovely green, and I've had enough of it and sorted enough of it that I actually have enough to do her dress, the green parts anyway, in this green, this lovely green. So that's the Rainbow Loom Mixed Pastel. I don't have enough of the Rainbow Loom Mixed Pastel Yellow to use for her dress. I used quite a lot of that in the My Little Ponies that I did. So I'm actually using a Kiran Stores yellow, which is sort of like a light yellow, a jelly yellow. It's not the one that I would prefer. I would much prefer to use a pastel yellow, but this is the lightest yellow that I have. I think the opaque yellow is just going to be a bit too much, but again, it's completely up to you what you use. Okay, I'm using 9mm toy safety eyes. I've already, as you can see, shoved the back washer onto mine. I do like to do that beforehand because I can then just pop it through the bands for the face. I'm using stitch markers. If you don't have these little locking ones, you can use ones that don't lock. You can use a safety pin, a paper clip, a C clip, an S clip, any of that sort of thing will work. I'm using a 2.75mm crochet hook. Again, you can use whichever crochet hook you find easiest. I just find a smaller one is great because I'm not stretching the bands too much. Now, you are going to be making the head and the arms separately. I'm not going to include making those in this video. At the top right hand side here, you will find that there's a little eye. If you click that eye, it will take you to the video which shows you exactly how to make these. Okay, I will also put it in the description of this video so that you know how to make it. Now, for the arms, you're going to be doing your magic ring in yellow, and then you will have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 rounds of yellow. You'll then have 1, 2 and 3 rounds of brown. So that's 5 and 3, 8, and that's what we make our arms. We do our arms are 8. Okay, your tie off bands for your arms will be in the brown as well. Okay, so that we can link them. We're also going to be doing a little bun at the top of her head and her little crown, and these little frilly bits here to go. She sort of has these leaves at the front of her dress, and I've done them this way, so we will be making some of those as well. So I'm going to start by doing her bun, and then we'll do these little 3 parts. We're going to start by doing her bun with black, and I'm going to take a single band and wrap it around my hook once and twice, and I'm going to put my stitch marker in that little band just because I find it easier to show you guys how to do a magic ring. You can use your loom, completely up to you if you want to use your loom to do your magic ring, or you can do it this way. We're going to do a magic ring of 5. So you have your first band on your hook, and then you take 5 bands, and you're going to pull the first one back through, reclaim, and one over the other. And let's do the second one. You go back through those 2 bands, that little end cap, pull your second band through and reclaim. You've still got your first one here. You're going to take one over the other. So you've got 2 little slip knots here, and you're going to push this one under this one so they're joined together. Push your hook back through the end cap. We're going to go for number 3. We're going to do exactly the same. One over the other, like so. You've got a little slip knot, and there's your other slip knot. One over the other. 4. So one over the other, and one over the other. You can take your stitch marker out, and 5. Now I'm going to assume that you have made the head and the arms, okay? So when I talk about the head and the arms, you hopefully will have already made those. So our next round for this little bun is what we call an increase. So going into the first stitch, and you're going to do 2 stitches in each stitch. Now that's going to be increasing our stitch count from 5 to 10. So you can have 10 little bands ready if you want to. So with your first stitch, go through, do your single crochet, and I'm going to put my stitch marker. I like to put my stitch marker on my first stitch. Some people like to put it on their last stitch. It's completely personal preference. So let's go around and do our increase in each stitch. This is my second last stitch. And this is my last stitch. So we now have 10 stitches around our work. Our next round is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase. So that will take us to 15 stitches. Okay, so you can have 15 bands ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and one more is 15. So let's do that. So we're doing a single crochet in the first stitch, so go through that first stitch, pull your first band through, do your single crochet and put your stitch marker on it. In the second stitch you're going to do an increase. In the third stitch you'll do a single crochet. And then an increase. Single crochet, increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, and we're going to finish on an increase. Our next round is going to be just single crochets, no increase and no decrease. So get some bands. So that means you're not increasing or decreasing, you're going to stick with 15 stitches. So let's do our first one, move our stitch marker, and around we go. Oopsie. Now I like to do this first because I like to get it attached to the back of the head before we do any stuffing or anything like that. Now, we don't want her bun to be massively huge. We want it to just be a little bun. So what we're going to do now is one more round of single crochet, and then we're starting our decreases. So around we go again, single crochet, Move your stitch marker. And now we're going to go through the first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker, and then we're going to do a hidden decrease. So the decrease, we're going to go through the second stitch, the back loop only, and the third stitch, the back loop only, like so. And we're going to pull a band through both of those, reclaim one over the other. And then we'll go through our next stitch doing a normal single crochet, and the next stitch as a hidden decrease. And so that will be the pattern for this round. So you'll be reducing by 5, so you will end up with 10 stitches again. And this is my last 2 stitches. Oops, try that again. There we go. Pop that through like so. Now, at this stage, I'm going to go through my first stitch, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So I've got it on my first stitch, and I'm going to add that loop to it and do like a little tie-off band, but I can get rid of my stitch marker. Okay, I'm going to every second stitch do another little tie-off band, like so. Okay, just every 2. See? And I'm trying not to pull them too tight, but also I want to be mindful of the fact that I don't want them to undo. But you'll end up with 5 little bands here. For your bun. Okay. So let's get our head. Pull those a little tighter. Oops, that one came undone. There we go. So I've got my 5 little loops here, my 5 little anchor bands. If you've got some C-clips, and this way is quite good because you can pop your oopsie. You can pop each of your little bands through. Oh gosh, they're going all over the place. I only want 5. Come on, you. Pop this out. Pop a little C-clip on each of these bands. 1, 2, 3, 4. My last one is 5 here. 5. So with 1, we're going to find where your magic ring is. Mine is here. Push through, go 1 stitch back, and pull one of these through, these bands through, and you will have your little stitch, your little C-clip on it. Make sure that pulls through so that you have it sort of stuck right where it needs to be. Then get the next 2 either side, okay, splay them open just a little bit so that you can see where roughly you want them to be, and you can sort of, this is where we've gone through, so you can go 1 and 2 on either side, so keeping that in place. Pull your next band through and pop the C-clip through. Or you can pop it on at the end, but I prefer to do it this way. And then looking again at this side, you can see where 1 is, and you know this is not going to go anywhere. You've got a whole band, a whole hole between them, so you're going to go a whole hole between them this side, which for me would make it go probably about here. And grab that band, pull it through, push the C-clip through. There we are. So I've got 2, 3 C-clips on the inside. So that's like that. Now turn it around the other side, and you've got your other 2 C-clips on your other anchor bands here, and you're going to find a spot a little bit further down the head. Okay, but you still want to be in line with the center of the head. So I'm probably going to go about here for 1. Again, it is still trial and error, but at least having the little C-clip on the end of your anchor band lets you pull your little creation a bit, so that you can make sure that you are getting things in the right spot. And I'm probably going to go about, make sure I'm in the same line here. And again, pull your little anchor band through with your C-clip. Let's see, that to me looks a lot better. I'm going to flip this inside out, and I should have 5 little C-clips in here. There we are. I'm going to go through 1, and you can take your C-clips off as you do this, and find the next one. I have 2 loops on my hook. Take the C-clips off. It's always my biggest problem, is taking the C-clips off. 1 over the other. Find the 3rd one. Remove the C-clip. 1 over the other. The 4th one. Remove the C-clip. 1 over the other. And the 5th one. Remove the C-clip. 1 over the other. Go back to your first. Grab a black tie-off band and tie nice and tightly. Pop that back through. Smush it down a bit so that it's, you don't want it really sort of so bobbly, and plus we haven't we're not stuffing it, so you just want it to sit not flat, but not so that it's, you know, too in your face, I guess. Alright, eyes. We'll move these C-clips out of the way. Position of the eyes. I like to sort of come about here and here. I come 1 in, so I'm going to go probably about here. The nice thing is with these is you pop them in, and if you find that, oh, well, that's not the right spot, I want to move that, it's so easy to do. So like, I've done that, that's really wrong, isn't it? So all you do is pop it out and move it. Make sure you have your eyes on the same lines. You don't want one above, you know, one on a line above the other. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Is it too low? Is it too high? Maybe they're a little bit too, they're a bit too close together. How far have I come down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we could go up one. The other thing is you can also just wait until the until you've stuffed it to see how it looks. I think we'll probably be alright, but we can change that as we want to. I'm going to leave that like that for now. So the next thing we're going to do is a frill all the way around her hair. Now we're going to do, if you notice, she's got these little tendrils, so it's very difficult to do tendrils. So what we're going to do is just do a couple of longer ones like this, okay? And there's 3 of them. I've got one here, and one here, just to make it so that it's not so even, so it's a bit higgledy-piggledy. So we're going to start by going through the center point here that we have in the hair. Okay, we're going to go through the center here and just pop out, take a band, put it through, reclaim, and we're going to chain 1. So you've ended up here with a little chain of 2. Go to your next stitch, and you can see it quite clearly here. It's this little brown one here, and you're going to pull 1 band through and through the 2 loops that are on your hook. Okay, and then you're going to chain. And we're going to do this all the way around. Go to the next stitch, pull it through, and all of them, and chain. Now, at about this point, we're going to chain a few more, okay? And I'm just doing regular, normal chains. I'm going to chain, that's 1, 2, 3. So that's 4 in total. So there's the one I pulled through, and I chained 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. I'm then going to go into the next stitch here, and I'm going to pull through like so. So I've got that sort of little bunched up bit happening there. Chain another, go through my next stitch, and pull it through. So it's just the same as we do for the normal little sort of frill around the hair that we do for these dolls, except in 3 little spots. So I've done 1 here, I've done that sort of bit here, and I'm going to do 1 here and 1 here. Alright, but for this one I'm only doing the 1 in that spot. So I'm going to go all the way around the head till I get to the other side. And it's much easier to do this before you stuff. Then you don't get pieces of fluff and stuff all through your bands. Now here you just kind of want to make sure that you've got more bands than just the one. So I'm just going to go through. It's a big sort of knot, but I'm just going through that. If you don't want to do that, you can just pick off individual, like you can just pick 2 little ones like that and go through. It really doesn't matter. Probably have less pullage if you just pick 2. You see, I've got a proper one there, but that other one was big. And there's another, there we go, there I've gotten just through one little loop there. Now, this is the side where I have the 2 little loops that are going to be coming in, okay? What I want to do, first of all, I'm going to keep my hook here down the bottom, but I'm going to push up here to about where her eye is, in line with her eye here, and I'm going to chain. I'm going to go through, I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a bit of thunder, 6, and on 7, okay, what I'm going to do, I want to basically, I'll go through it, I want to go through and use that 7th band as my one here. So I'm going to pull, I've got it on my hook, like on my chain like this. I'm going to pull one side through and through the 2 loops that are on my hook, and then I'm going to hang on to it, and I'm going to chain 1, just as if I was doing like normal. I'm pushing this to the side, and I'm going to go in the next spot. Now, at this stage, because we're coming up this way, we sort of have to push through these little 2 here. Pull it through, add my loop, and chain 1. Whoops. I don't know about any of you, but I find black bands the hardest colour to work with, to see. So I'm pushing through those little 2 loops there, pull it through, add my loops, chain 1. Now the reason I've done that like that is so that I've got this little extra loop happening here. You can make it more than 7 as well if you choose to, completely up to you, but I've just done it for 7. Chain 1, go through my next one, seems like we're going to have a big thunderstorm here. So this is sort of like this little chain that I have. Now I am going to go back and curl up on it. So I'm going to leave this like this and put a stitch marker on it. And I'm going to try and match what I'm doing up to it. So going back to this little chain that we made here, I'm going to do a frill in this. And I want to make it so that it's on the outside here. So all I'm going to do is go through the one that's attached here at the bottom, at the base to the head, and I'm going to do the same sort of frill, so chain, chain, and then into the next, and pull through, and chain. So I'm using this as another little frill, if you would. And into the next. It through, chain 1. Do you see? So it's not attached, but it is still another little frill that I've done. It's the only way I could really think of doing a tendril. I suppose the other way would be sort of how we did the jellyfish leg, but that might be quite large. I'm coming up to where this is. Whoops. Pull through, reattach. Now I want all of this to be on the same hook, so I'm going to pinch this. I'm going to put my hook back through here, take my stitch marker off. I want to pull these into this one loop like so, and then reclaim the other loop. And it's just sort of, I guess, how I've tried to do a tendril. Now what I'm going to do is go into the next stitch here, pull through, chain one, oops, just through those two little black stitches, oops, keep forgetting that I wasn't doing a chain, I was doing a pull through all the way up to the top. I have not forgotten that other one, don't worry. I'm going to tie this one off at the very top here. Go through, chain one. Now what I'm going to do is go through the next stitch if I can see it. I'm going, no, that's the, there we go, like so, and I'm going to do a tie off like that, and I want to pull that end of that tie off band inside the head like that. Now you can link that in, you can tie that in if you choose to. I'm going to stretch that out a bit so that it gives it a bit more shape. So if you look inside, you see this is our tie off, it's popped out the other side. What you can do is go through, drag it back inside, and I have it on my hook here, and then all you need to do is sort of, you're not really turning it inside out, but you are finding a spot on the inside, another loop on the inside, and you're going to link those two together, and that will stop that tie-off band from popping out to the front. Okay, so this is our another little tendril that we have here. Now, as I mentioned, we have another tendril happening here. So what I'm going to do is go through roughly where I want it to be, and I'm going to say that it's going to be here, and I'm going to do a chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I started on the outside, and depending how long you want to do it, 6, we could do 7, we did the other one as 7. This is my 7th band here. Okay, you can go through the front like so, tie with a tie-off band, pull that to the inside of the head like that, and again find a little band on the inside just so that you're anchoring it to the inside of the head instead of to the outside of the head, and that won't flip through. Whoops, let's try that again. There we go. So that's sort of how I did the tendrils. I sort of added these little extra bits here, there, and everywhere. Now, the other thing we have here is her crown, okay? And what I did for her crown was, using capped bands. For the tallest one I used 1, 2, 3 with a cap, and then I did a cap and 2 and a cap and 1. So we're going to make 1 with 3, 2 with 2 and 1 with 1 of the capped bands, and we're going to use yellow. If I can open that up. So capped band, wrap once, twice and 3 times. We're going to do with 1 first. Slide onto your little capped band like so, pretty it up, okay, and then you're going to slide onto a green, and this is almost going to be sort of like a holding hook for it. You're just going to hold it like that, okay. You're doing 2 of those, so 1, 2, 3, cap a band, slide on, and Ray, come here, slide onto a green. So it's one side and the other side. Make sure we don't lose anything. There we go. So next one is 1, 2, 3, and slide onto 2 capped bands. So here's our first capped band and our second capped band, and slide onto a green. Do the same again. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's loud. Slide onto a capped band and 1 more. Make sure they're even. Slide it onto a single green, and then our last one, 1, 2, 3, onto 3 of the capped yellow. That's 1, 2, and 3, and this is our little green band, so that goes in the middle. So next we're going to put our little yellow contraptions that we've made on her head as a headband. As you can see, I've marked on her hair where I want the start of the headband to be and where I want the end of it to be, and all I'm going to do is have 1 band on my hook. Let's make sure it's not twisted, and I want to have 3 more bands because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'm going to go through my next spot. I'm going to pick about here. I'm going to pull it through. I'm just going to do a little chain like that. I'm going to find my next spot, which I think will probably be maybe here. And my last one will be here. And then this is the complete end one, which is here. So I've got my little chain that goes across the top of her head like so. Now, when we add these, we want the tying portion to be at the back of the head. So I'm going to pinch and turn my hook, okay, like so. I'm going to put them in order. I've got 2, 1, 2, like this. All right, I'm going to take my smallest one, and what I'm going to do is put one end on my hook, pull it through those 2 loops, and grab the other side and loop. And then I'm going through the next little chain here. I'm going to pull one side through, add it to that loop, and loop, loop. Next one, pull it through, add it to the loop, and pull through. Next one, pull one side through, add it to the loop, and this is all happening on the bun side of it. Here's my last one here. Put it through, add it to the loop, pull through. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that last little loop, I'm going to pinch it here, put my hook through the inside of the head, go through, grab that loop, and I want this to be tied off inside her head. So I'm going to poke through like this, I'm going to find a little loop here, and I'm going to tie these two together so that it doesn't pop through to the front of her head. And then I just sort of angle this. So it looks like a little candelabra, but there we go. So I just sort of angle this so that it's angled backwards a little bit, like that. Okay, so that is how I did her little tiara. Alright, now before I stuff the head, I want to do a little bit more of her body. The first round that we need to do, and I'm going to put my hook back on my last stitch here from when I made her head. There we go. So our first round from getting back from doing the head is a single crochet, followed by an increase, and it's in brown. So I'm going to go through this first stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to change my stitch marker to that stitch, and then the next stitch, single crochet, and then an increase. 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then again single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, and this stitch is an increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. I'm going to do that all the way until we get to the stitch marker again. Oops, both loops. Single crochet, single crochet, and our last stitch is an increase. So that is her neckline. Now we have a round where we're going to do a little bit of yellow and the rest will be the green. So I'm going to put these brown bands back, and I'm going to take, I want, I think it's 2 yellow. No, it's more. Let's get some yellow and some green. Let's have a count how many we're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 little yellow in the center here. So looking at where our center is, I could probably see it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We could even do 5. It doesn't matter because it's your doll. So how far you do is fine. So on this second stitch, okay, so this first stitch here, I think we'll do as a green. We're going to change colour. Oh, if I could lift the band up with my finger. So we'll do a green. Change our stitch marker. That was a slip stitch. Now we've got to go into this one. We're going to do a slip stitch again, because that's our first yellow, and then we'll do another yellow. So that's 2, 3, 4. I know I did 4 in mine. Let's see, with this pulled over to there, yes. 5, and then we'll do our slip stitch in green. And we'll go all the way around in green now. Just doing single crochets. As I mentioned, these are the pastel green from the Rainbow Loom Mixed Pastel kit. And I know that there are a couple of different tones of the green. There's a slightly darker tone and there's a slightly lighter tone, but I don't think it really matters with this dress because when I looked at the pictures of it, it did sort of show that there were 2 different tones of green, so I'm not worried. Now, what we're doing is the 5 little bands at the front in yellow are going to point down into a V, so we need less than we have. So we'll go down to 3. So there's my last stitch here. I'm going to go through, and then can you see there's my little, whoopsie, there's me unraveling everything. There's my little slip stitch. We're missing that. We're going into the real stitch, which is stitch number 1. We're going to go in with green, okay? We're just doing a normal single crochet. Move your stitch marker to that stitch. Now, this green will come across. It pulls across like that, okay, into the next stitch. So the next stitch you're going to miss the slip stitch and go into that first yellow with a yellow and do a slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and then green again, slip stitch, green, all the way around, but make sure you get this slip stitch here, ignore it, go into the real stitch. And you see how that's coming in? And we want this to come in, and it's not going to be too bad because we're going to have the ruffle there as well, so I'm not too worried about that. So we did 1 round, okay, in brown. This we did 1 round in green. This is our second round in green, so we need to do 3 in total. So let's keep going around. This is our second round in green. Oopsie, busy unraveling. Okay, this is my last stitch in green for that round. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is my first stitch in green. I'm going to go through with a green. This is my first stitch. I'm going to put my stitch marker on it. So I've already done my first stitch. I'm just going to take my hook out. I want to add my arms, and I also want to add the little frilly bits, okay, that are going to go either side of her bodice here. All right, so we need to make these. Now to make them you might need the help of an extra hook. If you don't have an extra hook, use a toothpick or a safety pin or a paper clip or something like that. So what we're going to do, we're going to make three. Two are green and one is yellow. I've made one green. We're going to start by taking a single band in green, wrap it once, twice and 3 times, and you're going to slide onto a capped band. So you've taken a band and you've capped it, you've looped it on itself in a figure 8. Slide that on, okay? Now, reclaim, you're going to take another capped band, and this one is going to go on one side only, okay, like that, and then pop that on your other hook, okay, and on this side you're going to do the same. And as I said, if you don't have 2 hooks, it doesn't matter, you can put them on a toothpick. Take another capped band. Alright, what we're going to do, keep that on your finger, you're going to move one side of these loops over, okay, so you've got 6 little loops on this side and 2 here. Put your next capped band through, you're going to cap another band, and this time you're going to swap hands, and these 2 center ones are going on this next cap band. So 1 and 2, like so, and then move it onto the hook, the other hook, because we've still got this one here, okay, and with this one here we're going to cap and pop through, and then pop that one on the hook too, so that if you have a look, you've got your first cap here, and it's basically similar to the dragon scale, I guess. You've got one through here, a cap band through there, a cap band through there, a cap band through this side, a cap band through the 2 middle ones, and a cap band through the other side. Then all we're going to do is drag back one single band through like that, okay, and that's what we're going to attach here. So I've popped mine on a stitch marker just to hold it so it doesn't go walkabout. I'm going to pop this other one on, and I need to make a yellow one of these. Oopsie, come back here. Thank you very much. There we go. So there's, they look like little ears, don't they? Little cat ears. Let's do yellow one. 1, 2, 3. Capped band. Slide over. Capped band. Slide one side over. Reclaim. Pop that on your other hook, or whatever you are using to hold it. You've still got this side you need to add to a capped band. Add it through. Now you reclaim, so you've got them like this, but we need to add a capped band here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cap a band, but I'm going to put this side on my holding hook to keep it out of the way. And now I'm going to cap that one side, like so. I need to do a capped band between these 2 middle ones. Alright, I'm going to cap my band. Now you can either drag these over onto this hook like this, or you can just swap which hook you're doing, but I'll drag it over for this sake. Pull these through the next 2, 1 and 2, like so. Pop this one back on and do a capped band to pop just that side over and reclaim. Okay, so there we go, and now it needs to go through a single yellow. Ta-da! Okay, so these we want to go here. Alright, what I'm going to do is take one of my green ones off, and literally I'm going to pinch it to make sure I don't lose it. I want one side of my green on the top here. I'm going to put it through, and the other side I want next to it, but far enough away that it's not stretching. I don't want it to stretch and distort the bands, but I want it to be spaced across like this. And then all I'm going to do is take a green band and pull it through the 2 loops at the back and tie off. It's nothing fancy to keep it there, I'm afraid. Same with the yellow. The yellow is now going to go across this spot here. So go through the yellow here, pull one through, stretch it across to the other side of the yellow, like so. Using a yellow band, you're going to tie those 2 ends together. Hit the camera while you're at it, like so. And then we have one last green. So I'm going to go in here, pull one side, make sure I'm approximating right, grab the other side, you don't have to do this, it's just a little bit of embellishment that I think looks quite cute, but if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine. Let's do the arms. Make sure you've pulled them so that they're not going to unravel on you. Hold them, pinch them out like that. You want one arm to finish sort of about here, so I'm going to count back 3. Make sure you go under the hair, pull your first band back, go through the second hole, pull your second band back, go through the third hole, and pull your third band back. If it doesn't unravel on you. You're going to take the third one off, loop 1 and 2, pop 3 on, loop 3, find a spot at the back. We're finding lots of spots at the back, aren't we? And go through a little band to secure your arm. Now remember, don't do them too tightly at first because you might want to move them. So does that look right? I think it does. I'm definitely going to move this one. I think that's all over the place. I'm going to move it so that it loops in a little nicer. Let's marry up our other arm. I'm going to go through 1, 2 and 3. Poke my hook through 1, push through 2, and go through 3. Loop them, find a spot at the back, and tie together. Again, not too tight, you want to make sure that you've positioned rightly. I think I've positioned the arms rightly, but I'm not happy with how these are. So I'm going to faff around with these, and I will catch you back when we're ready to do the next round. So our third round, we're just going to do green, and we're going to skip, put our hook through our first stitch, skip that little slip stitch, and around we go in green, all the way around, no yellow. Miss the slip stitch, go into your green. Whoops, make sure I don't do an increase. all the way around to the stitch marker. Our next round is going to be a single crochet and increase, again all in green. So single crochet, move your stitch marker, single crochet and increase in the next stitch, which if you remember is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then again single crochet, increase until we get back to the stitch marker. Nearly to the end. It'd be nice if we could buy these colours separately. Single crochet, and finish on an increase. 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to start it. We're doing 1 round of green only, and then at about this point here, sort of in the middle, if you can see here, we're going to just do 1 yellow or 2 yellow, and then on the next round you're going to do 2 extra and 2 extra. So we will do that. So I'm going to start my first round. It's going to be a single round of green only, and I will meet you back when we have done this round, because if we do each and every round together it's going to take forever. So single round of green single crochet only. So our second round of mainly green. Here I am saying second round of mainly green. We're adding some, it's the second round after having done the single crochet, increase. So we're going to go in, starting with green, and I'm thinking that we will start, it's all exactly where you want it to be. I'm going to say about that spot there is where we can start doing our flare out in yellow. So I'm going to do green, until I get there. And I'm going to do a slip stitch with the yellow. I'm going to do 1 more yellow, and then I'm going back to green with a slip stitch, and I will continue doing green until I get to my stitch marker again. Okay, so I will meet you back when we get to the stitch marker again. So I'm back to my stitch marker. So I'm going to go through my stitch marker. Now I'm doing green, changing my stitch marker. I'm going to do green. Whoa! I'm going to throw green around. And then in this stitch, I'm going to do yellow. So it's the second stitch before I get to the slip stitch. Okay. 1, 2. Miss the slip stitch, go into your real stitch. 3, 4. And miss the slip stitch, go into the real stitch. 5. And again we're going to change back to green, so do a slip stitch. And around we go in green again until we get to the stitch marker again. And I'll meet you back when we get to the stitch marker again. So I'm at my last stitch, and we're going to start with our next 3 rounds, which will be single crochet only, and they will be completely yellow. Okay, so we're going to change to yellow, do a slip stitch, move the stitch marker, and we are going to go in and do yellow completely for the next 3 rounds. Miss your slip stitch, go into your stitch. So I will meet you back when we have all done 3 rounds of just the yellow. We'll have a little bit more to do, but just closing her up and doing a little ruffle around her dress, but other than that we're pretty good. So here's my last yellow. As you can see, I have a slip stitch in green next to that stitch, which we ignore, go into the green, and around we go. 3 rounds in total of yellow. Catch you back. So I'm at the last stitch of my 3rd round that I did in yellow, and I'm going to pop that last stitch just on my stitch holder here, okay, just to hold it so it doesn't go wandering around where I don't want it to. I'm going to turn my little girl over to the back, and starting at the center here, okay, now what I want to do is I'm wanting to go through these little stitches here with a ruffle. Okay, now I can go through, do you see this little stitch here that's going to the side like that? So I could go through the great big one like this, or I can just go through the little stitch at the side, and that's what I'm going to do. So starting at the back, I'm just doing the ruffle stitch. I'm just going to go through, reclaim, chain 1, and then go to the next little stitch here and pull through all the 3 loops like that, reclaim and chain, just like we did for the little frill around her hair. Okay, and then again go to the next little stitch here, making sure I'm going through the green, pull it through that one and the 2 on my hook, and chain 1, and to the next little green stitch, pull it through and add those 2 little ones there, and chain. So we're going to do this, and we're going to actually follow the shape of the little blip that we have in the yellow, so that it goes up a little bit. So that will be interesting. Oops, come here you. Pull through, go through those 2 loops, and chain. And we're following, as I said, the shape given to us by the green bands. hope I don't run out of green bands. I don't think I will. And I very rarely count them. I like to have an entire bag of whatever colour I'm using. So I had an entire bag of the yellow and an entire bag's worth of the green and an entire bag of the cocoa. I just make sure I have a whole bag of any one colour. Now this is where we're starting to move up. So what I have to do, I have to be careful now because I want to skip across to this one up, which is a level up, okay? So I'm going to this little one here. I'm following the shape of the green rather than the actual line of the dress. And I'm going up again, so it's to this one. And we're going across to this one here. And now coming down, we're going to go into the little green one still. Make sure you follow the line of the dress. Now I'm coming down to this one here. And then once you're back on the right line for the dress, you just keep going around until we get to the back. But if you notice, we've sort of gone up and down a bit. So let's continue with what we're doing here. It's a very noisy day today. It's a trash truck day, so the dustbin man is outside picking up my recycling bin. And then we've got roadworks happening as well. They're re-cementing our street, which is fantastic because it's had huge potholes in it, which is not very good, especially when it gets snowy in winter time. So I'm nearly at the end here. What I'm going to do is go through one more, do my little chain. I'm going to pull that closed like that, go through the hole that we started in here, pull it back through so that little knot is inside, okay, and then I'm going to find a little band to tie this off at. I'm going to stretch it, not stretch it hard, I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't go loose. So I'm going to come across to here and tie that together like so, so that that does not flip back out and cause a mess. So that's the little sort of ruffle that I've done around her dress. That is the end of needing to use the green bands. I'm glad we didn't run out. Now what we're going to do is the bottom of her dress, and that is all done with the yellow. So we're going to start by doing a single crochet in the inner loop. So let's put our little girl back on our hook. So the inner loop, we're going to do this loop here, all right, the inside loop, and all we're doing is a single crochet all the way around on the inside loop. Oh, let's move my stitch marker. and it just changes the direction of our work. So instead of going through both loops like that, we're just going through the one closest to us. So I will meet you back when we have got back to our stitch marker, having done a round of single crochet in this inside loop. So our next round is going to be a single crochet, and a decrease. So we're going to go through our first stitch here and do a single crochet. Move your stitch marker, and then second stitch is a single crochet, and then we do a decrease. Now you can do a hidden decrease, which is through the 2 back loops only. And then single crochet, single crochet, and the 2 back loops. And we'll do this until we get to the stitch marker, and I'll get a few more bands ready. Oops. Single crochet and a decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, and a decrease. I can hear my little cat snoring. One of them has been very sick lately. We had 6 vet visits, including emergency vet visits, which was just desperately sad. But she's on the mend. Single crochet, whoopsie, single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, and our last stitch will be a decrease. Now our next round is going to be single crochet, decrease all the way around. Okay, so 1 single crochet in the first stitch, put your stitch marker on it, and then you do a decrease, hidden decrease or a decrease, whichever you choose to do, all the way around till we get to the stitch marker again. So back to single crochet and a decrease. So I'm going to meet you back after we've done this. In fact, we're going to do 2 rounds of it. Okay, 2 rounds of single crochet, decrease. This is round 1. We'll do another one after it. Catch you back. So I have just completed that last round of single crochet decrease. I'm going to put this little stitch that's on my hook on my stitch marker, and I'm going to stuff my little girl. Okay, so pop that on there. I really want to keep that out of the way. We don't want to get stuck. We need to stuff her head, so I have to go quite far up. I'm going to grab some stuffing. I use the polyfill, 100% polyfill. You can use, if you don't have this, you can use cotton wool, you can use tissues, you can use old yarn, you could use an old soft t-shirt that you chop up into little pieces. One of the things, and I always say it, is make sure you don't stuff too much. Less is best in things like this. Because if you do stuff too much, your stitches will spread apart and you will see your stuffing through it, and that can look nasty. So that's for her little face. Let's do her body. And you want her body to have shape, but you don't want it to be stuffed, like an overstuffed. So make sure you push it up and give it some shape. And I think that, is she going to stand up nice? I think she will stand up nicely. I think that might be the right amount of stuffing for us. So to close her up, I'm going to pop my last stitch back on my hook. Here we are. I don't need that stitch marker on anymore. I'm going to pop that away, and all we're going to do is go through and do decreases until we get to the end and can't do a decrease anymore. So I'm going to do a decrease, and then I'm going to the next 2 stitches. You can do hidden decrease, or you can do a regular decrease, it doesn't matter. And the next stitch here. And the next stitch here. Now, one of the things that you do with crocheting with yarn is when you get to a certain point like this, what you do is you go through up and down weaving. So you take your last bit of yarn, and we're not obviously using yarn, and you weave it around these last stitches like this. Closing up the hole that you have. Obviously make sure you don't lose your stitch, and then when you've got a nice tight closure, you just tie it off, and that works quite nicely with us too. So tie it off, and then you're going to go from the back, push your hook up to the center, grab that tie-off band and pull through. And let go, and it will just bounce back and hide inside the center. So there we go. This is Tiana. You might need to straighten her tiara. We've kind of scrunched it a bit as we've been working on her. But there she is. I hope you enjoy her making her. I really think she's very, very cute. And I have to say, when we were at Disney World, Tiana was one of the most beautiful princesses we met. Izzy was not feeling very well. It was very crowded. She was getting very overwhelmed and was feeling sick. And Tiana's, the people that call you in to the rooms, called us in, and she and I think is it Prince Naveen, they were so sweet with her, and she had her little Loomy Tiana to give to her, and they were lovely. So yes, she happens to be one of my favourite princesses now, just because of how beautifully she was at Disney World. There she is. If you like the video, big thumbs up would be appreciated. Give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It's completely free, and you will then find out when I have new videos released. Take care, everyone. Bye.